Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on BJPenn.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton, episode 32 for you. We got a really good lineup here ahead of UFC Vegas 22, but we're first going to be joined up by the still light heavyweight champion of the world, Jan Blachowicz, to recap his win over Israel Adesanya at UFC 259, talk about a potential move to heavyweight and a future matchup with Glover Teixeira and when he wants that fight to be. He's adamant Glover Teixeira deserves the next shot. He wants Glover to be next, and he's really looking forward to that fight. But we also touched on a lot of other things, that a potential Jon Jones fight, a rematch with Israel Adesanya, so really good chat with the light heavyweight champ. We're then joined by Antonio Carlos Jr. to talk about him signing with the PFL, getting cut by the UFC, whether or not he thought that was surprising or not, and what kind of intrigued him to move up to 205 and to sign with the PFL. So good chat with Antonio Carlos Jr. just about this upcoming season and his upcoming fight against Filthy Tom Lawler. We're then joined by Max Griffin to preview his fight against Kenan Song. This is a big one for Max Griffin. Max believes if he gets another win here, especially another knockout win, especially after that viral finish over Ramiz Brahimaj last time out where he took his ear off, where he thinks he'll get a ranked guy. And he's really starting to feel his confidence and momentum starting to get back up after a couple bad split decision losses his way, or decision losses that didn't go his way. He has his confidence back and he's ready to go on a run. We're then joined by Grant Dawson to preview his fight against Leonardo Santos. This is a big one for Grant Dawson, who's moving up to lightweight. Leonardo Santos, although he doesn't fight a lot and is not ranked, he's a guy that's very dangerous, has some stoppage wins over the likes of Kevin Lee, beat Antonio Rocco Martin. Like, he's a very dangerous opponent, but Dawson thinks lightweight is where he's going to really have success and where he's going to kind of take over. We're then joined by JP Bays to preview his fight, his UFC debut against Bruno Silva. Really intriguing matchup there for JP, who's coming off a good win over the Contender Series. His wife Cheyenne's also on the card, so kind of cool how they're both making their UFC debuts on the same card. And then we close things out talking to Adrian Yanez about his fight against Gustavo Lopez. Now Adrian kind of expects to put the bantamweight division on notice with another knockout win. 2 wins. He's coming off that successful UFC debut, the beautiful knockout, head kick knockout over Victor Rodriguez on the Contender Series, a good knockout over Brady Wong in 39 seconds. So he's looking for another first round knockout. He thinks that head kick's going to be there again. He's going to get that stoppage and really be in the top 10 by the end of this year after a few more knockout wins. But thank you all for listening. Be sure to share the show, subscribe, and thank you all again. All right, we're joined by the still UFC light heavyweight champion, Jan Blachowicz. Jan, how's it going?
All good, life is good. Still the champ, so just feel great, enjoy the life.
Yeah, heading into that fight, like, did you kind of feel like everyone was counting you out? Everyone was talking about, Adesanya is going to become that 2-division champion, that Jon Jones fight, the him going up to heavyweight. Like, there was already all these plans for if you won. Like, it seemed like people were overlooking you a lot.
Yeah, I think that I knew that they want, they've got some plans. UFC have plans with Adesanya. They want to make fight with Jon Jones if he beat me, but I'm still so. Again, I destroyed this plan. So the victory just stays a little bit better, and right now I think they're gonna have to always have something plan B. Because when someone fight against me, if they've got planned for big star like Adesanya, so they have to remember there still is someone like Jan Blachowicz in the game.
Do you think the UFC kind of wanted him to win just because there would be a lot bigger fights if he were to win? Like that Jon Jones fight would be one of the biggest fights he could do.
Maybe I understand the business. I know that he's big star. One of the biggest in UFC. So. Maybe that will be better for them, but I don't care. I don't care. For me, it's better because I'm one, so that's my problem.
And heading into the fight, he was saying he was going to weigh like 193. He wasn't bulking up. He ended up weighing 200 pounds. But what did you make of that? Him coming in light and him not trying to bulk up to be a true light heavyweight.
He got everything to be light heavyweight. But he need time, He need time for sure. He need to grab a couple more pounds. But he got everything to be true light heavyweight. But easy. Not all first of all he need to catch some pounds, and then make some fight with guys in top 10, and maybe in future he will be the champion in the light heavyweight. But yeah. But anyway, he got power, he got speed, he got good kicks. So he everything what he need to be in light heavyweight. He got it.
And in the lead up to the fight, we were talking. You basically said the game plan was to wrestle him early and then strike with him, but you kind of flipped it. You struck with him early, then wrestled late. Like, did you always know the takedowns would be there?
Yeah, my game plan was to start a little bit earlier, but he was tricky. So I tried to take him down in first round, second round, I don't remember right now, and he escaped really fast. So I just knew that I had to wait a little bit longer, make him a little bit tired, and then catch him and put him on the ground and keep the fight over there. So better later than never. So I started do this in the fourth round, and that was good idea. He was a little bit tired. He don't expect that, and I just take him down, hold him on the ground. And I feel that when I grab him on the ground, so I feel that he will not stand up. That was my part of the game.
Were you a bit disappointed you didn't get the stoppage win, or were you just happy with your performance?
I'm happy. I'm happy because I won the fight. Yeah. This is the most important. Of course, if I will submit him or knock him out earlier, it will be a little bit better. But anyway, I'm happy because I think that was good fight. Good tempo. So we fight 25 minutes. My cardio, I test my cardio also with with fighters, with so great fighter like Adesanya. So I've got good experience from this fight. But anyway, if I will knock him out or submit him, will be a little bit better. But I'm happy.
Is it kind of surreal to see how far your career came? Like, you were 2-4 in the UFC, on the verge of being cut. Now you're the light heavyweight champion, defended your belt. You're knocking out all these guys that are considered some of the best light heavyweights. Like, your record now, like, you are one of the best light heavyweights ever.
Yeah, I want to defend the belt a couple more times, and maybe in future I will go to heavyweight. Still we have got something to do. There is Hall of Fame, so maybe in future I will join to this elite club. We will see. I still got fire inside me. I still want to do this. I still feel pleasure when I do this, so I will not stop. I think 4 more, maybe 5 more years. We will see, but still we got lot of things to do inside the octagon. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 title defense, and then I will go to heavyweight and try my skill over there. We will see.
What's his win do for you, like your career? Because obviously Adesanya is probably the biggest name guy you fought. He had a lot of hype behind him. You hand him his first career loss and to get your first title defense all in one.
I'm just happy, that I can fight against someone like Easy and beat him. Be the first one who take his own. So I'm the first one who beat him. So in MMA, so it's great. But I feel that I've got still big fight, somewhere in the future. Still is somewhere over the back of my head is Jon Jones somewhere over there, and I believe that in future I'm gonna have opportunity to beat him also. We will see. We will see. There is a lot of big names in UFC, so for sure I'm gonna have also big fights in the future.
And when it went to the scorecards, like, how confident were you that you won the fight?
I feel that I won the fight. I don't check. I don't know how the referee score. I don't care. I'll check. I have to check. First of all, I need to watch the fight because I don't watch it. But everybody's saying that I won the fight. So, and I feel it after the 5 round the fight is mine. So that's it. I won the fight. There's no. That's it. Yeah, I was better. Just this.
And I'm not sure if you've seen, but already Adesanya's coach is talking about how there's really not much for him at middleweight. Like, there's the Whitaker rematch, maybe Darren Till, but he was saying basically 2-3 more fights, and then maybe they're back in the same spot where they move up again and try to rematch you. Like, is that a fight that still interests you? Is maybe rematching Adesanya down the line again?
I understand him because he lost the fight. He would like to have a rematch, but he beat almost everybody in his category. So. Yeah, maybe in future we're gonna do this, but first of all, he need to when he come back to 205. I think he need to make a fight with guys from top 10, and maybe then rematch or something like this. Not earlier. Not like this that he will just come and do rematch against me. First of all, I think that they will be fair, for everybody if he do some fight in 205 with top 10 fighters first.
You mentioned Jon Jones earlier. Obviously, you were supposed to fight him for the light heavyweight title. So is there still something that you want to fight him, whether it be at light heavyweight or heavyweight, just to get the opportunity to share the octagon with him?
Yeah, I think everybody would like to fight against him,
Yeah.
We will see what's going to be in future. In future, I think that, Glover, I think my next opponent will be Glover, but we will see in the future, He promised me this fight. I don't want to talk about Jon Jones because it's boring for me right now. But anyway, he promised me this fight after when I knock out Corey Anderson. So I'm just wait for him, and I believe that in future somewhere, somehow we're going to make this fight.
Just one thing on Jones quickly. Like, how do you think that fight would play out? Because obviously he's a guy that gets hit a lot. You have a ton of power. Your grappling's really good. Like, it seems like a fight that would it's an interesting clash of styles.
I don't know right now, but anyway, if UFC send me contract again and I will fight against Jon Jones, then we find the way with my coaches, with my team, how to beat him, For sure, I will try to knock him out because I like, fighting stand-up. But anyway, I think that that will be a little bit similar fight like with Israel, But I don't know yet, But if the fight will happen, I find a way how to stop him.
And then obviously Glover Teixeira's next. Like, he's the kind of guy similar to you where he's had to kind of work his way to a title shot. He beat everyone. So how do you think that fight goes? Because that's one where Glover's very durable. Like, he's tough to knock out. Like, Thiago Santos dropped him a couple times. He's very solid on the ground.
Yeah, I think that he got good boxing, but he used it to to be close to you and take you down, and then he tried to use his jiu-jitsu ground and pound. So I think that in this fight, I will be the guy who would like to fight in stand-up, and he will try to take me down. But I think my jiu-jitsu is also really good. I think even better than he got. So if he take me down, it's not gonna be easy to submit me. He gonna have to be careful. Maybe I will start to take him down. I think that every part of the game I'm a little bit better. In stand-up, for sure. In the ground, we're gonna be 50-50. But I think that even I'm gonna be a little bit better. So I'm gonna be ready for every part of this fight. And that's it. But I think that I will be the guy who want to be on the foot. He will be the one who would like to take me down, on the ground.
And before the Adesanya fight, you were basically telling me you beat Adesanya November, December is that time frame because you want to spend time with your newborn. Is that still the time frame? Like, get one more in this year at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think for this moment, when I'm talking with you right now, so I think after half year I will come back to octagon. But maybe after 2 weeks when I stop celebrating, so I said maybe I come back a little bit earlier. But for today, half year break, spend some time with my family, celebrate with them, and then come back to the octagon.
And just last thing is, obviously you've mentioned a heavyweight move. Like, when do you think that would be? Like, obviously you have to beat Glover. There's a few other guys, but like, what do you think it is? Like 2-3 more title defenses, then off to heavyweight?
Yeah, something like this. 2, maybe 3. We will see. If maybe UFC give me some, good, they say we've got some proposition for you. It's really good, really nice. So maybe a little bit earlier, but But right now I think 2, maybe 3 more fight in 205, and then do something different.
Would you want an immediate title shot at heavyweight to try to become a champ, or would you move up to then try to work your way up to a title shot?
If I will, it's gonna be opportunity to to do this. How just I go and fight for the belt, it will be the best option for me. But if not, so I will do this step by step. But this is future. This is something what I'm gonna think after 2 more years, and then maybe. So this is long time.
All right, well, Jan, thank you so much for the time again, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Pleasure for me.
All right, we're joined by now PFL light heavyweight Antonio Carlos Jr. Antonio, how's it going?
How doing, Cole? I'm doing really good, man.
Obviously, before you get into signing the PFL, I just want to go back to your last fight. Like, entering that fight against Brad Tavares, like, did you kind of think you needed to win that, or you would have been cut like you were?
I think it was a close fight, but all credits to Brad. Man, he fought very well. He defended all my attacks. All my shots and stuff. He did really good. I didn't thought I would have that. Would be that hard to take him down and work on my jiu-jitsu. I was ready, bro. I'll tell you, I was pretty good. Training well. The diet was good. The wake up was good. How I recovered the weight. That I was like 100%. And he did really well. So all credit to him.
Did you expect the UFC to release you after that fight?
I knew I had that chance, but I don't think so. I think they would have me uh, have my last fight because I have one more fight in my contract. So I think they would, give me one more fight. But it is what it is. To be honest with you, I'm even happier now.
And signing with PFL, did they immediately show him a lot of interest, or was there other promotions like Bellator or One showing interest?
Man, I was talking to Ali, my manager, and I told him my interest to fight on PFL. I like the system. I told him, man, I like the system. There is no politics. There is no like trash talk. It's more my style. You know what I mean? So I'm not the trash talk kind of guy. I actually like my opponents. I like everybody. They are fighters as I am, so I understand their mind. And I'm not. I like people. I don't hate people. So that system, the UFC system was a little hard on me. You know what I mean? So I told Ali, I think the PFL system is gonna work for me pretty well. You're gonna get what you deserve. If you win the fight, you're gonna pass on the brackets. Uh, and that's how you work on my whole life. Jiu-jitsu. If you win, you're gonna go for the next fight. Then you go for the next fight. Then you go for the next fight. Then you go to the final, and then you get the prize. So yeah, I think works very well.
And obviously they don't have middleweight division. Moving up to 205, like, was that part of it too? Just because you're going to be fighting so often, you don't have to cut down to 185 so much in 1 year?
Man, cutting this much away was being like pretty hard for me. I cut like 35 pounds every time that I fight. So yeah, it was pretty hard. I need always to, be on diet, losing weight, and every time I lose weight, I feel I'm not the same. You feel weak. You don't feel as strong as you truly are. And this is bad for your train. I was get injury, often. So that's not what I want. I want to be healthy. I want to train hard. If it's hard to diet, train hard, prepare for everything in the same time. So I think cutting just a few pounds is gonna be way better. I'm gonna respond way better in the fight, especially for my game. You know what I mean? Like I'm a grappler, so I need power, I need strength, and I feel once I start like uh, dieting, I feel I kind of lose the power, lose the strength. I get tired fast. So yeah, that wasn't being good for me.
And then you, with going to light heavyweight, like, you're a guy that fought on top at heavyweight. So how much better do you think you're going to be at light heavyweight, being able to get these people down? Because that's a lot of extra weight and strength you can put on.
Yeah, I already fought as a heavyweight and a light heavyweight, But at the time, I was lighter than I am right now, the Ultimate Fighter I fought as a heavyweight, but I was walking around like 207, But I had the chance, so I got a fight. And after that, I tried to fight 205. I only lost like 4 pounds, you know what I mean? So I was lighter. I was younger. I was lighter. So I started getting older. I started getting like heavier. So I feel good, when I'm training on my way, on my normal way. You know what I mean? So at this time, I just gonna need to dehydrate it a little bit, do a little bit of diet, but not like that hard, how it used to be to make 185.
And obviously, the $1 million at the end of it, was that a big intrigue for you to sign with the PFL?
That was good, man. Everybody like $1 million, right?
Yeah.
I hope so. Like I hope I can make to the final. I can get this, this $1 million for sure. Open my eyes, and I really want that. That's why I'm working hard. Now I'm doing what I like to do. In the system that works for me with a good price. So man, I'm truly happy to sign with PFL, keep doing what I love, just what I love, I just need to focus now on training and fight, and that's great.
Obviously, you've looked at the light heavyweight division. Like, what do you kind of take away of PFL? Because there's obviously some former UFC fighters in, like Tom Lawler's, Emiliano Sordi won it last year. Like, there's some well-known names in that division.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games. Tom Lawler is a former UFC fighter. You also have Cesar Mutante, who is Brazilian, former UFC fighter, the guy that I know. He lives around here, and he's also a tough guy. Emiliano Sordi, if we fight, it's gonna have the classic, Argentina versus Brazil. So in soccer we got this classic, right? So I think we're gonna have this on MMA too. And Jordan Young, he's my training partner. He's a guy I don't want to fight now. If we fight, I hope we only fight at the final, because we train together, we always together. So yeah, I mean, I can see a lot of like tough guys in the division.
And with PFL, like, you're kind of guaranteed a certain amount of number of fights. Like, how good is that for you? Because you went one fight in 2018, no fights in 2020 when you were trying to get in there.
Yeah, I think that was because the weight cuts. I don't actually get. I'm not the guy who get hurt often. You know what I mean? And I was getting hurt, and I think this might be because of diet. Hard diet. I was always weak, trying to lose the weight and stuff. And I feel when I'm good, I'm on my normal way, I don't get hurt. I'm not the guy, no guy who gets hurt. So I think it's gonna be better now. Because I don't get hurt in fight. I'm a grappler. I think the only time I got hurt in a fight was against Uriah Hall, that I broke my nose, and that was the only time that I get a serious injury. The other time against Dan Kelly, I got a cut on my nose, but that's it. I never really get hurt in a fight. So that's why the tournament works for me too. That's why it works in the Ultimate Fighter, and I hope it works on the PFL now.
And in the PFL, it obviously is that regular season tournament format. So, like, do you have to change any way you're going to fight or any way you do in training to make sure you can get it to that date? Because if you can't, like, you got to pull out the entire tournament.
I'm sorry?
Do you have to change the way you fight or the way you do training to make sure you get to the fight? Because PFL is not like the UFC or Bellator where you pull out and you just get it rescheduled. If you pull out, like, you're out of the tournament.
Yeah, I think you just need to be careful in the training, like to not get hurt. I think this we really need to take care. But I keep doing the same stuff, like training hard, but like carefully with the right people, right partners. Because I actually like this system. When you're gonna fight, your schedule, and this is pretty good for me. So you can organize your schedule, you can organize your life. When you're gonna fight. So I'm gonna like make the training a little easy now, so I'm not gonna get hurt once it gets close to the fight. Because you can't organize everything right. I think it's better actually.
And just quickly getting into your fight, obviously Tom Lawler, like, kind of a well-known guy in this sport, like fought on UFC 100, fought guys like CB Dalloway, Ryan Bader, like Chris Weidman. Like, did do you think this is a good fight for you to get right in there and get a well-known name to kind of prove you're at the top of this division?
Yeah, I love the fight. I think to be a champion, you need to beat everybody, right? So Tom Lawler is a tough guy. He's a wrestler. I saw some of his fights. His fight against Chris Weidman, John Villante, a lot of like tough guys. But long time he doesn't fight. So this is a good thing in favor of me, So I just gonna study a little more his game, and see what's the best way to get a win over him.
Yeah, how hard is it to prepare for him? Because he hasn't fought since 2018, and then since 2013, he's only fought 4 times in a 8-year span.
I'll try to get his last fight, try to watch his last fight, especially his fights in UFC. We don't actually change the game a lot. We can add something, we can put something in our game, but we don't change everything, So he probably gonna fight the same style he always fought. You know what I mean? So I'll try to get this fight, see his movements, see his weakness, and try to work on it, with all my coaches.
And you're going to have a big reach advantage too. That was something that was noticeable at middleweight, like 79 inches, but that's still a pretty big reach advantage at light heavyweight. So like, how do you think that's going to play a factor? Not even just this fight, but throughout the tournament where you are going to be bigger than some of these guys.
Yeah, I always use the distance, in my favor, always trying to keep either in the distance or close. So you're never on that danger like distance that someone can throw and knock you out. So I either like go in the distance, try to keep the distance and stuff, or I'm really close. So I try to use that in my advantage, you know what I mean? But for sure, I always want to get really close, go to the ground and work on my jiu-jitsu. That's my best weapon.
You obviously know the PFL structure system where you get more points for finishing fights. Like, is that going to change your style where you're going to be hunted for those finishes, or it's just more like, let's just get these wins and it'll eventually all add up?
I don't think it's a good idea to force something. You know what I mean? You got to work for, and I think the chance is going to present itself. So I want to work, for sure, like on the takedown, on my jiu-jitsu, but I also going to work on my, with my boxing, my hands. The Ultimate Fighter had like 2 knockouts, in the first round. One of them was like 12 seconds. So this can happen, but like you need to see, you need like to work for it, if the chance presents, I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna force it. When you force it, I think you just spend your energy. You know what I mean?
How do you see this fight playing out with you and Tom? Because I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to get him down and kind of just control him or submit him. Because you look at his career, he's struggled with grapplers and he's been submitted quite a few times.
I'm sorry?
How do you see this fight playing out between you and Tom?
As all my fights, I like striking a little bit. I just gonna try to take him down when I see the chance to do it. As I said, I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna, go for it no matter what. I want to strike. I know how to. I feel actually pretty comfortable on top too. And if I see the chance, for sure, I'm gonna try to take him down and work on my jiu-jitsu. It's my best weapon, you know what I mean? So I always gonna try to use my jiu-jitsu. But if not, I'm gonna like keep striking, keeping like making points, score some points, and to win the fight. If I see the opportunity, I will go for it.
Just a few more things. Like, what's it like for you to be part of this PFL season? This is their big return, and then you look at who they've signed. They signed yourself. They signed Fabricio Verdun. They signed Rory McDonald, Anthony Pettis. Like, they still have Kayla Harrison. Like, they seem to be really becoming one of the mainstays in MMA.
Yeah, I love it. As I said, man, I was actually on UFC, and I said, man, I love this system, I love this organization, how they do and stuff. It's really good. Now with a lot of big names, I'm really happy to, my fresh start, get there and, get another win over win, maybe get this million, that's what I want, working hard for it.
Is your deal with PFL just for this one season, or did you sign like a multi-year deal?
I signed for this year, but the idea is like keep on the PFL, man. I hope like everything's gonna work out very well, and I'm gonna keep fighting for them. You know, that's my idea.
And just last thing, obviously the year-end prize is $1 million. If you end up winning it all, getting that million, like what's the ideal goal to use that million towards?
Man, I just opened the gym, so I think I'll do some stuff in the gym. You know, I already have my house. I got a nice car, so I just want to use for like invest on my gym and another stuff. I don't really think about it, you know, but
Yeah.
I just thought about the gym actually, you know, that is some stuff that I want to do in the gym. It's a nice gym, I love it, but there is some little details, you know, little things that I want to make it, and with this meeting, it's gonna make it a lot easier.
All right, well, Antonio, thank you so much for the time, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
All right, we're joined by UFC welterweight Max Griffin, who's returning here pretty soon. Max, how's it going?
I'm very well. What it do? How you guys doing?
Obviously, your last fight, an incredible win over Ramiz Brahimaj. Like, was this about the right time for him for you to return in March, or were you hoping to return a bit sooner?
I was trying to return a little bit earlier, but I just had a baby. They actually wanted me to fight on March 6th on the pay-per-view, but my son was supposed to be born the 19th, ended up coming the 27th. So I said, hey, I like the opponent. Can I fight him earlier before the baby, or can I fight him after? And they said, no, you can't fight earlier. You can fight the 20th. So I said, lock that shit in. And here we are.
And Kenan Song, like, how much do you know about him?
He's all right. I mean, he's pretty good. Everyone's good. I was out with him out in China, actually, when Anthony, he fought some Korean dude. But he was on the card. He fought some dude that's no longer in the UFC. I forgot the guy's name, but he's okay. I mean, you know, everyone's good, but he's one of those guys that's kind of good everywhere, or at least good boxing.
Is this an opponent you like that's just gonna kind of try to keep it standing with you? Because obviously your last opponent, his whole game plan was try to get you down to the ground, and I know you like getting into those stand-up fights.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting out, but yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't super thrilled. You hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, yeah. I'll be honest, when I first got the name, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, I wasn't too pumped, I'll keep it real. But, you know, my manager said, hey, you know, you got a couple more fights in your contract. We don't want you fighting Robbie Lawler on this kind of money. He's like, so beat this guy. He's a guy you could beat well, and then renegotiate after. So I'm looking at it. I'm not looking past him whatsoever. But he's a good guy for me to beat. He's a good guy for me to beat, and I'm gonna beat him.
Did you think you would have got someone more known after that last finish and how viral it went?
Yeah, but I think it's a good kind of setup that's kind of happening. Like I said, they wanted me to fight on the pay-per-view on the Adesanya Jan, but like I said, I pushed that fight back, and now I'm on the main card on ESPN. So I think it worked out for me in a better way.
How do you see this fight playing out?
I don't know. I'm gonna beat him. I don't want to say too much on how or what I'm gonna do, but he's more of a stand-up guy. He likes to pressure guys sometimes, but he'll fight. He's not really a takedown guy at all. He'll fight. He has 71-inch reach, which is kind of on the shorter side. Mine being 76 and a half. So he's gonna be there. He's gonna be there for me, and I'm gonna thrash this guy.
Do you think he's going to shoot on you at some point? It seems like every single person that fights you eventually tries to take you down.
If he lasts that long, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm like, this is one of the guys that I feel like he's made for me. Just stylistically, he's tough. He's tough Chinese guy. Good right hand. That's about it.
What do you think a win over him does for you? Like, he kind of mentioned that renegotiate contract, but do you think this is a win that starts getting you those more well-known guys?
Totally, I think it's a great positioning to renegotiate. I have 2 big wins in a row, and I'm stringing it together now. I'm so confident in my stuff, and I've been training so hard, and I'm just getting better and better and better. And everyone's like, my last performance was beautiful, and I'm even better better this time than last time. In the last fight, I did a lot, but there's a lot I didn't do because he was such a takedown ace and a grapple guy. So I didn't really let my kicks fly. I, didn't use a lot of takedowns, and, it was more of a certain kind of strategy against that guy. When some guys, if he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, you're not just taking a guy down, right? You kind of fight him in a better place. This guy, I feel like I'm better at him at everything I do. Striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, my cardio. I hit harder. I could take a better punch. I'm fucking meaner too. So I just had my son, bro. I'm like a Papa Bear, bro. Like, I'm a bear. I'm a big bear with my cubs. And I don't give a shit who's in front of me. And it's unfortunate that he signed on the line. And it's what it is.
Like, do you kind of feel that extra motivation then after having your kid to like get these wins and get that second half of your money, getting that win bonus as well?
Yeah, I want my win bonus, but I want my performance of the night bonus. Yeah. I feel like this guy is he's hittable, and I'm gonna hit him. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a few more things. It's basically, you kind of mentioned. I actually want to touch on your teammate Anthony Hernandez.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, now we're good.
Okay.
Oh, I was telling Anthony. Well, we were doing a question about how fast I want to get back in.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Anthony yesterday. And it's like, dude, like, I'm ripped right now. My abs are popping. It's like, dude, after fight week, our shit's gone, bro. So it's like, I want to keep my shit, right? So we had a plan to try to keep our abs, So I do want to get back in soon. After this dub, a few months. I mean, I'm ready to blaze all these guys, but shout out to Anthony Hernandez, bro. My guy's one of the best grapplers in the world, baby.
Well,
it's beautiful. It was such an upset, man.
That's what I was going to touch on last one. I guess we can do it now. Is what you make of his win? He was a massive underdog, everyone counting him out, and then he taps the jiu-jitsu guy.
It was so fucking beautiful. We believe in Anthony, and everyone wrote him off. He was not destined, but he was set up to lose. Yeah. But Anthony's a stud, man, and he's been working a lot of wrestling these brutes, bro. These brute grapplers, and he's been putting in the work, the reps and the work. And when he got taken down, I was like, "Fuck," Adolfo was all on him, and Anthony was able to keep moving and get out of it. And once he got up on the cage, bro, he wasn't even breathing hard at all. I'm like, "Oh, he's good." And dude was 1,000,000% gassed.
Yeah.
And Anthony put it on him, bro. It was beautiful. It was so great. I mean, I lost my voice for a week on that victory. Then he hit him with his patented fluffy teen. You know, he's put that on everybody. So to have him, dude, tap him. Oh, dude, I got it in it with so many jiu-jitsu guys about before that. Oh, Anthony, well, you're gonna get rid of all these fools on Clubhouse talking shit about, you know, how jiu-jitsu's gonna fucking win and all this shit. Like, shut up. It was great. It was beautiful.
What was funny though is I was talking to Anthony, like I was interviewing him before his fight, and right when we stopped recording, he goes, "Cole, I'm gonna go tap this guy out." And I just like, I'm like, I think if you're gonna win, I think you're gonna knock him out because he gasses. And he's like, "Nah, I want to submit this guy to shut up all these guys." And then he goes out there and submits him. I'm like, man, I should have threw some money on it.
Yeah, 30-1, man.
Yeah. You kind of mentioned earlier that about your confidence. Like, is your confidence, has it ever changed? Like, you're a guy that's always pretty confident, but now getting back in the win column, like, has your confidence changed at all, or is it still as high as it's been?
It's high as it's been, but it's better because it's like I know how good I am, and you know my record. We talked about it before. My record doesn't show it. I talked to Spencer with the UFC yesterday, and they know how good I am. These like I think I was 2-4 my first fights. I could have been 5-1 if the shit would have went my way. So it's like it doesn't deter me, But this last fight, to go out there and just outclass this guy that was so good and just rip it, dude, like it's just more like confirmation and just of how good I am. And then all this shit, we got good juice right now. Then Anthony, bro, submitting the best guy, the best grappler ever, and that's my teammate, and we're gonna fuck everybody up, bro, and I can't wait. I don't give a shit who it is, and like I said, that was major. That was major for us. That was major for me. That was major for his family. That was major for his whole life. I mean, if he would have, let's be honest, if he would have lost, he would have got cut.
Yeah.
Straight up. So you see how life can turn, bro. Life can turn. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful.
Just last thing, do you kind of put any pressure on yourself to get the stoppage just because of how many times you kind of lost those close decisions?
It's just going to happen themselves.
Yeah.
I think I was trying too hard, I was trying too hard, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
Once you kind of let go and your shit just starts flying, then your shit just falls into place. I didn't try to chop that dude's ear off. I just tried to have a good time. So, so this guy, song Keenan song, I don't know what's first or last. I don't know if it's a nickname or what, but he's going to be there. He's a tough guy. But it's going to be a beautiful victory. I'm going to show so many different skills. And I'm going to take this guy out.
All right, well, Max, man, thanks so much for the time again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah. All right, we're joined by UFC Lightweight now, Grant Dawson. Grant, how's it going?
It's going, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Obviously, the big news is moving up to lightweight after your last fight against Nad. You basically said lightweight's your new home. What kind of took so long to get the fight? Because I thought you would have got a lot quicker, not having to worry about the weight cut so much.
Man, it was really, it's about fitting a puzzle piece into a different box. I was going to have a really quick turnaround at 45. I think they wanted me to fight somebody in the top 15 at 45, which I was definitely interested in. I couldn't make the weight anymore. And to save myself the embarrassment, to save myself the money, I thought it'd be better to go up. So then they had to find the right opponent, not too easy, not too hard. You know, like you gotta kind of fit me in, find a place to fit me in, and I feel like they did it perfectly. I'm taking on the number 20, like sixth guy in the world, you know, and I think if win over him, it's going to be legends and rankings from here on out.
Yeah, but is it kind of good that you had some times and you can start to build up the frame even more to be a natural lightweight and it's not just a quick jump where your 45 frame is now fighting at 55?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a blessing in disguise, especially with the whole COVID thing going on and like everybody kind of figuring out what's happening. I think that it was a really good thing. That being said, I will be active in 2021. That is my goal, is to have at least 4 fights. I'm having lunch with my manager after this fight. Win, lose, or draw, we are going to figure out. I'm not leaving that lunch until I have another fight at least talked about. So, you know, it's going to be activity for me all in 2021. That's my word for 2021 is activity.
Leonardo Santos, was this, to me, this was someone I didn't really think of as possible just because he doesn't fight that often. Like he fought twice in 2015, once in 2016, didn't fight until 2019. Then just been once a year, 2019, 2020.
Yeah. You know, he's not active, but he's beating everybody he's fought. Yeah. So it doesn't really bug me. He's a big name. There's actually a lot of people that have been messaging me and telling me that he's a really tough fight for me. And so then I'm excited about it. You know, I've been supposed to win every fight that I've had. And I feel like this is a fight where there is a challenge. He's a little bit bigger than me. He's a little bit more experienced than me. He's got, you know, a better resume than I do. And I'm still going to make this fight look easy. I'm going to make it look like he doesn't belong in there with me. And like I said before, once I'm done with him, it's legends and rankings from here on out.
Well, I don't know if you've looked at the odds, but you actually are still the betting favorite. You're about minus 210 across the board.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't really pay attention to, you know, myself with favorites and stuff like that. It's a bunch of people that have never trained with me. You know, when you look online and you look at my record and you look at, you know, what I do, you can call me just a wrestler, but just ask any of the guys that I've trained with, ask anybody that I've ever rolled with, ask anybody that I've ever fought. It's completely different. The strength that I have and the pace that I put on is something that you just cannot prepare for. So that actually does surprise me that I'm the favorite, but I got to go in there. I'm going to prove them all right.
And Leonardo Santos, like, although he doesn't fight often, like he has some really good wins on his record. Like he's a first round knockout over Kevin Lee, a submission over Anthony Rocco Martin. And what's crazy is he fought Thiago Santos, who's light heavyweight, at welterweight on Tough and beat him, which is just kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. He fought Ponzinibbio, he fought all these guys, and he's got a resume, and I very much respect his resume, and I very much respect, you know, what he's done in jiu-jitsu. Here's the thing, though. When he's working on his jiu-jitsu, I'm working on my MMA game. If we put the gi on, he would probably beat me. I still think I'd stand a chance, but he would probably beat me with the gi on. But we're not fighting with gis. We're fighting with these. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to make this an MMA fight, not a jiu-jitsu match, not a striking match. This is going to be an MMA fist fight.
And that's a kind of what I was going to touch on. Is obviously you are a very good wrestler, but your stand-up is getting a lot better. So do you think you're like, is the game plan to take him down just because of how dangerous he is on the ground, or do you kind of want to show off your striking?
Absolutely not. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take his ass down. I'm going to put him on the cage, take him down. I'm going to beat him up and make sure this isn't a jiu-jitsu match. I do respect his ground game. I do. However, MMA grappling, I am a better MMA grappler. A jiu-jitsu guy with the pajamas and the belts and the bowing, he probably can beat me there. But MMA grappling is different than jiu-jitsu. MMA wrestling is different than college wrestling. Does it help? Absolutely. But it is completely different. While he's getting really good at a sport that has nothing to do with MMA, I'm getting really, really good at MMA. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to lock his legs up, and I'm going to beat his face in until he gives me the submission. And I will submit the 7-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. You heard it here first.
I honestly thought you might have got a ranked opponent at lightweight, but I kind of understand it because I think they could just kind of want to see how good you're going to be at lightweight. But do you basically think you win this, you're knocking on the door of that top 15?
Yeah, man. I definitely want top 15. I definitely want to break through. My issue is the guys that are in the top 15. 10 on up are kind of booked or not fighting right now. And I actually think that I'm going to get somebody else before top 15. I think that there's somebody that I'm going to call for. Obviously, if it's top 15, I will take it. But there is a name that I want to call for. And I think that we'll get him next. And then after that, we'll get a top 15 guy. But if they throw a top 15 guy at me, I'll take it. No problem. It's just, Dober and Islam are booked. The wrestler dude, I don't know why I can't think of his name. He's on the same card with me. Gillespie. Gillespie.
Yeah, Gillespie.
I'd really like to fight Ally Aquinta, but everybody and their grandma is calling Ally Aquinta out, and he's just not interested in it. So, I do think that I'm going to have one more fight before the top 15. But if they give me the guy who I'm asking for, it'll be a good one.
This might sound a bit crazy just because of how deep lightweight is, but I actually think you're going to do better at lightweight than you would have at 45, because you look at the top of the lightweight division, it's a lot of strikers that struggle with grappling. So I think once you get to the top, I think it's a lot of easier path to victory. Not like easy path to victory, but you obviously have a clear path to victory with your wrestling.
Yeah, man, I feel the same way. It was always a size thing for me. 145 was always like, I'm not big enough to compete at 55. I'm not big enough to compete at 55. Then I missed weight against Derek Minner. And, Minner's a G. He still took the fight. So much respect for him. And he's actually my teammate and good friend now. And then after that, they gave me a fight at 150 because of the flight and the travel and COVID going on. And I still struggled to make 150. I almost missed weight at 150. And I just kept telling myself, if you miss weight, they will cut you. If you miss weight, they will cut you. I G'd up. I made the weight. But I actually have a video on my phone of me in the tub telling James I'm going to 155 from now on. And so I'm a man of my word. I told my manager when I missed weight against Derek, I said, if I struggle to make 145 again, or if I ever miss weight at 145 again, I will go up to 155. I'm a man of my word. I struggled to make 150. We're going to go up.
Your gym is flying so far under the radar. I think James Krause is just starting to get that talk about it.
He's the best. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he's the best MMA coach there is right now. And the only difference is he's not getting the guys from the college wrestling backgrounds and these big names that are in there to help him. He's growing guys that are average people into these straight killers. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, whenever I talk to someone from his gym, I always tell them, I say, I think to me, James Krause is top 3, if not the best MMA coach, because everyone goes, the awards for best coach always goes to like American Top Team, AKA whatever, because they have world champions. And I'm like, it's more impressive when you take no one from the UFC to now your gym has like 20 or 30 fighters in the UFC and now are becoming into the rankings.
Yeah, and you also have to take into consideration, where we're located in American Top Team, Denver, Colorado. Those guys are always going to do well because there's just so many people there. There's so many people. Like if you have 200 people to work with, you're bound to have 2 or 3 world champions. You're bound to have 50 guys in the UFC. If you've got 20 guys to work with and all 20 of them are in the UFC, all 20 of them are working towards becoming champion, that makes a big difference. And I understand. I get it. He hasn't had a champion yet. He's had 2 guys or 2 fighters, I should say, that have worked their way to world titles, Tim Elliott and now Megan Anderson, who's fighting on Saturday. So until he wins that world title, whether it be with Megan, myself, Kevin Kroom is another one, or some of the other guys that we have, I don't think he's going to get the recognition he deserves. But that's also a good thing in a way that a lot of people are kind of underestimating us. A lot of people are, kind of writing him off, and he doesn't have to deal with so much stuff. But he is also getting the credit that he deserves, and we've also got a lot more UFC fighters from out of town coming in. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, whenever I talk to people at the gym too, they always bring up you as how much you've helped them because you've taken that kind of coaching role. What's that like? Because when I talk to Tim Elliott, he always mentions, "Oh, Grant's been helping me so much with my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu." Like, what's that like when these UFC fighters are now mentioning you by how much you're helping them?
Oh man, it warms my heart, man. Especially being able to see what we've worked on come to fruition in the fight. There's nothing more that I'll give you a small example. It won't take much time. One of my training partners, his name's John O'Brien. He's a 155er, and he had a fight coming up, and we were training this one specific thing for the fight. and it was something as simple as a body kick because we knew the guy had a high guard. He goes out there, throws the 2, lands the body kick. The fight's over in 10 seconds. He wins. It's so like, you're just so proud and so happy because it's like, I saw that happened. We worked on it together. Now he did it. And it's great. So from amateur all the way up to UFC fighters, giving me this praise as an assistant coach or as a coach or whatever it is, it really does warm my heart. But I am a fighter first and foremost.
Just a few more things is the whole thing you've kind of been preaching this interview is you want to be active this year. So everything goes your way March 20th. Like how quickly and how many fights are you looking for this year?
I'm looking for at least 4 fights. I want to fight May 15th. I'm going to call for Clay Guida May 15th. He said that he wanted somebody that's an up-and-comer. That's me. He said he wants somebody coming off a win. That's going to be me. He wants somebody with less than 10 UFC fights. That's me. I think me and Clay are going to bring in $50K. I think it's going to be a really good fight, and it's a really, really good fight to get my name out there and finally kind of start getting the credit that I feel I deserve.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Do you think you're still kind of underrated, even though you have all these wins? Like you look down, and it's not just wins. Like you're finishing a lot of these guys, but I still don't think you really get enough credit.
I agree, man. And it's not from the UFC. I've been treated very well by the UFC. They've given me every fight that I've asked for. They've given me the money that I've asked for. The UFC has been nothing but fantastic to me. I do feel like I'm not getting the respect that I deserve. I beat the Ultimate Fighter winner, Mike Trezano. I've beaten, 2 guys that are now, off these giant win streaks and doing well, and Julian Erosa and my teammate Derek Minner. I beat a former cage world champion in Nadnar Amani. And now I'm going to go into this fight against this guy who's undefeated in the UFC. He's got wins over Kevin Lee and so on and further, Brazilian champion. When I beat him, I do think that I will finally start getting the credit that I deserve. And as I keep saying, from here on out, it's legends and rankings. No more of this fighting up-and-comers. No more of fighting these bums that are almost out of the UFC. It's going to be me against the top level of the sport, and I'm really going to prove myself. I'm ready to prove myself, man. I'm a dog that's like can't get to that steak, and I want that steak. I want to bite into it, and I'm ready to go.
Just last thing, like everything goes your way here. Like, what's this perfect 2021 for you? Like, how do you see yourself at the end of the year? Like, with a number beside your name, obviously, but what's that ideal year for you?
Ideally, it's going to be I'm going to beat these 2 guys outside the rankings. Then I'm going to get somebody ranked, and my final goal for 2021 is to be ranked no matter where it is. But I truly believe that I have the talent and the skill to be ranked in the top 10 by the end of this year, not just the top 15. My plan is to get ranked in the top 15 and then immediately call out the guy who's at number 10. I think it's Dariush, and I'm more than willing to take those fights. I'm more than willing to take those tough fights, whether it's Dariush or Diego Fajeda. I'm ready for those things. There's only 2 guys in the top 15 that I won't fight unless they have the belt, and that's Drew Dober and Paul Felder, and that's only because I'm really good friends with them. So if it's not those 2 names, I'm ready for anybody in the top 15.
All right, well, Grant, man, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, we're joined by UFC flyweight JP Bays. JP, how's it going?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Obviously, long time coming. UFC debut coming up. Like we're about a month out now. So, what are the emotions and everything like right now? Where you're about to get ready for that first walk to the octagon?
It's just a daily countdown now, man. Like it's been so long that it's like I've had so long to overthink it that like I've reached the point where I'm like, man, I just count down the minutes, the hours, the days. Just really excited to step in there.
Yeah, obviously you had that shot of the Contender Series 2017, didn't go your way. Like, did you think it would take you this long to get to the UFC? Because I thought you would only need 1-2 fights and be right back in there.
And in all honesty, I did not think it was going to take that long. I did expect to get a call sooner. I was hoping to get a short notice call or anything like that. But unfortunately, after that loss in 2017, I went back to South Africa. I got a little stranded there, and then, man, from South Africa, like, opportunities are impossible. But maybe if I was out here, I would have had a shot easier or quicker. But at the end of the day, I don't think that matters. Is the right time is now.
You had a few bantamweight fights. Like most of your fights were bantamweight after the Contender Series. How come? Why was the drop down to flyweight then after that?
Yeah, I've had 11 pro fights, and I think 5 of them were bantamweight, 6 were flyweight, or vice versa. It's like pretty even. And before that Contender Series fight, I only had 1 fight at bantamweight, a short notice fight, which I won. And then for the flyweight fight in the Contender Series, I had a really bad weight cut for that fight. I'm not going to point fingers, but the schedule was a little bit messed up, and I was supposed to fight 1 week for one show, and then I got called up to another show, and I had friends in town from South Africa when I was in Sacramento, and they won their fights. We went out celebrating, and I ate maybe not only 1 slice of cake, but maybe 2 slices of cake, and then, yeah, I had a rough weight cut, and after that, man, I was 21 years old, and I was like, man, that was the biggest fight for my life. It was in the Contender Series, and I hated every second of the weight cut. And I was like, I don't want to hate fighting or hate the process. I just want to enjoy everything. So I took a step back, focused on my skill set, focused on improving, getting better, becoming a better martial artist. Then I found my wife. She made me a way more and a better professional athlete, which that then changed my body, and that forced me to go back to flyweight again.
How big is it having Cheyenne being a UFC fighter as well? So you guys know what a weight cut's like. Like you guys understand what each other is going through during that fight week.
We understand. She knows how it feels. I know how it feels. But then at the end of the day, it's still like she still doesn't know how it feels, and I still don't know how it feels. Yeah. We understand, but it's still separate, and our careers are still separate. I got to cut weight on my own. She's got to cut weight on her own. It makes it a little bit easier knowing that both are facing the same struggles, but we're human, and any human is going to find something to complain about. Whether it's if we're fighting together, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, like you cut less weight than me, or you training more than me. Like we'll always find something to complain about, right?
And Bruno Silva here. Is this a guy you thought you'd be fighting? Because I wasn't really sure who they'd give you for your debut.
Bruno Silva, yeah. I didn't see that name coming. They gave me a name before Bruno Silva, and I was really happy about that fight. It fell through. Who was the guy? I'm not too sure right now, but that fight fell through, and that would have been earlier in the year. But they just then gave me the Bruno Silva fight, and I mean he's a known guy. He's friends with the champion, like the former champion. He's known by people, and I think that's a great fight for me. Like to make a statement, it's a big fight.
Yeah, and although he's winless in the UFC, like he's really 0-3. The 1 loss turned into a no contest because his opponent tested positive. But he's a guy that fought like Casey Kenny to a draw on the regional scene, like you mentioned, a main training partner Henry Cejudo. So like, what do you think a win over Bruno does? Like, do you think this is more just kind of put the UFC fans on notice that you're kind of here in this flyweight division?
You know, with Bruno, like you said, he's training with good people. He hasn't had a win in the UFC, but he's had very entertaining fights. And I think he only got finished once out of the 3 fights, and that became a no contest. So he's really 0-3, or I guess 0-2-1. But I didn't see him give up other than when he got submitted with the arm triangle. So, like, I know he's a tough guy. I know he doesn't get finished often. He fights, like you said, Casey Kennedy, to split decisions in the regional scene. So for me to go out there and excel and push to get a finish, if I can put a finish on this guy's name, that makes a big statement for myself.
Do you think you have a big advantage on the ground? Like you look at his kind of struggles in the UFC, it's him getting taken down and people being able to get good positions where everyone kind of knows. If they don't know, like you're very good on the ground. Like we saw in your Contender Series fight, we saw in the regional scenes. Like, do you think that's a big advantage for you in this fight?
I don't think it's a big advantage. I think he has a lot of skill and tools that people have not seen. He has the black belt. He has the tools to, and like you can see it in the fight. The fact that he doesn't get finished shows that he knows what's going on, and he does have the tools too. But I always like to think that I have the advantage over certain fighters when it gets to the wrestling point of view, the grappling point of view. Like that's what I like. That's my favorite martial arts. But I mean, we've seen how fights turn out where guys couldn't take each other down. It becomes a stand-up fight. So like, I'm just really excited about the fight, and I think, like you asked me, what if I think my advantage is gonna be on the ground? I think my advantage is gonna be in the mind. I think I'm getting underestimated. I'm a young kid from South Africa, not known about. Yeah, the odds are all in my favor. I have nothing to lose.
And fighting at the UFC Apex, you've already done that late last year in November. Like, do you think that's a big advantage where you kind of know what it's like, what fight week's like during this time with no fans and all that? Like, you've already done one of these weeks before.
Yeah, I mean, I've done the week here in Vegas. He's done it in Abu Dhabi, but the difference is he's done it in the UFC. So he's kind of run through the UFC protocols before. I did it in the Contender Series, which is very similar, but also very different. You know, like the walkout is maybe 15 yards compared to 100 yards. So as much as I want to say yes, I have. I've experienced everything in the Contender Series, and he hasn't. Like, there's still stuff that's going to be different on this fight night than what it was for the both of us.
I have to ask, I've actually never heard the story. I know Safe and like Fernie have talked really highly about you, but how does a South African end up in Texas training at Fortis?
It's crazy, man. Craziest story. South African with a Floridian wife, meet in Vegas. Then we moved to Africa, and now we're in Texas, right? So the story behind it is I was in South Africa and then went to Vegas to go fetch, back then, my almost girlfriend and made her my wife. Took her back to South Africa, came to Texas to visit her parents because when she moved from Vegas to South Africa to come live with me, her parents moved from Vegas to Texas. So her driver's license and stuff were expiring, so we had to make a trip out to come visit the family. Came out to visit the family, decided we're going to get married, got married. Went to go train at an MMA gym, just so happened to be the best gym in the world. And yeah, the rest is history. Now we're here with Coach Shave in Texas.
Just one thing on this with you and Cheyenne, is it going to be a bit weird both making UFC debuts on the same card, or like, because I know you two like cornering each other?
Cheyenne and I, we fought on the same card before for LFA once. I think it was in 2019 in November when we just immigrated to the US. We fought on that fight night once, and we weren't able to corner each other back then. But she fought first and I fought after. Where this time I think I'll probably fight earlier on the card than her. And I guess we're able, or the second person, whoever fights first, is able to corner the other person. But for this fight, we kind of just taking a step back. We're just being young in our careers. Fortunately, but unfortunately, we have to be really selfish that night and be like, best of luck to you. Go murder this person, and we'll celebrate and eat after. You know, like now we've reached the point in the career where we're fighting for some decent money, so it can be like, okay, like let's put all the bullshit, let's put our relationship, let's put the stress, let's put all that aside, make the money for our family, and then tomorrow as a family we can celebrate.
I've heard nothing but good things about you from like Ferdy, from Miles Johns. Like, what's it like being training there? Because there's a lot of high level, like flyweights, bandweights, featherweights there that you can get work with.
So many high level people on the mat. I mean, I'm surrounded by 18, 19 UFC fighters on a daily basis. Just the energy the guys bring to the room. Everyone's very competitive. We fight each other on the mat every day. We we don't like losing on the mat. We hate losing off the mat. So whenever there's practice, we go in there, we compete to the highest ability. Coach Sif is pushing us, trying to like reach that breakthrough level with us, and he's just standing there with the gas can and just putting gas on the fire, and we just keep pushing each other. So by the end of the practice, that room is smoking hot, man. It's just steam in the room. People are tired. It's hard work.
How important is Safe in your career, especially in the corner? Because when they show him in between rounds, like I'm just sitting there watching the fight, I'm like, man, Safe could get me up and go for like a mile run right now.
You know what? Something that I can say about Coach Safe is he can read a student extremely well, like his mind, and the small thing he picks up with a student is he knows how to deal with each and every student. He knows that if it gets to me, he might have to crank a bottle up my ass to get me going. If it's this person, he has to deal like this with them. This person might have to get a slap in the corner. So depending where you are in the fight and what you're doing and who you are and your relationship with coach, like you say, he has what it takes to get you going. You might have to get yelled at. You might have to take a little 5-star on the cheek, or he's just going to speak to you nicely. But that all depends on what you do in the cage. If you go there and you get the ball rolling, he's just going to keep it rolling. If you go out there and you mess up and you don't listen, you're going to pay the price.
Just a few more things is, how do you see your fight playing out? Really intriguing style matchup between you and Bruno.
I see myself finishing him. You know, unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, I'm going in there ready for a war. I'm going in there. Bruno Silva is coming to destroy me. Bruno Silva is coming to save his UFC contract. But at the same time, I got to save mine, you know? Like, I do not want to follow in his steps, and he lost his first fight on his contract. So it's my job to get him out there and not follow in his steps. So I'm expecting a full out war with him. I have not like visioned too much what's going to happen. Usually I like close my eyes and I'm like, okay, I want this, I want that. Right now I haven't seen anything. I've just seen a war. But myself winning, let me not forget that.
Are you kind of preparing for the best Bruno Silva? Like, his back's against the wall. Like, he loses this, he's probably out of the UFC. Like, I know most UFC fights go, or contracts run 4 fights. Like, this is 4th one. You can't really go winless and stick around the UFC.
I'm definitely expecting the best him. If I expect the best Bruno Silva and the best Bruno Silva rocks up that night, we're going to have a hell of a fight. If I go there expecting the best Bruno Silva and he does not rock up, then it's great for me. So that will be very immature, unprofessional, and really bad on my side if I do not expect the best Bruno. Like you said, his back's against the wall. He has the ball in his hands. He needs to come out like shots firing. And if I do not expect that's bad on my side.
Just last thing, like, you see more fighters in the UFC coming from Africa. Like, what would it be like for you to be able, it seems like UFC Africa, it's only a matter of when now, not if. Like, what would that like be able to be a part of the first UFC Africa card if they ever do it?
Oh man, I never thought like living in Africa. I was like, man, UFC Africa, that shit don't sound real. Like I just always thought it doesn't sound real. Right now, I'm like, okay, there's more fighters, but the currency, I'm not too sure if it's still a little bit real. You know, the UFC will have to make their ticket sales real cheap in order to get an arena filled in Africa just to make some money. But it would be awesome if I could be on that card with fellow South Africans, Don Madge, Dricus du Plessis. I mean, if I can fight along and next to those guys, it would be awesome. We've all fought against and amongst each other in the regional scene. So to go out and like now not compete against each other anymore or teams against each other, but countries together, that would be awesome. And I mean, March 20th, I kind of get a little bit of a feeling of that. I get to compete with my wife. and I get to compete alongside another South African. So March 20th is a good night. That's basically a mini UFC Africa for us.
All right, well, JP, man, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
All right, we're joined by UFC bantamweight Adrian Yanez, who's come back for his second UFC appearance there. Adrian, how's it going?
Man, it's going pretty good. And yourself, man?
I'm doing well. Obviously, UFC debut, we talked after it. I don't really know if it could have gone any better. Your contender series and UFC debut, like, could those two fights have gone any better? Your contender series, 39-second knockout. Your UFC debut, like, what was it, like a 2.5-minute head kick knockout?
Oh yeah, man. Both of those were phenomenal finishes. And man, I just want to keep racking them up and keep going that way, man. So I'm super excited. Those two were it was those two fights were like big for me in the sense of like, all right, cool. The contender series got me into the UFC, and then that UFC debut kind of made me stake my claim that, hey, I'm in the UFC. I'm not here just to be this one-off guy. I'm here to be like at the top 10. That's my goal, be in the top 10.
And Gustavo Lopez, like, was this someone you had your honor? Or was this just who the UFC offered you? He's a long-time combative fighter, 2 UFC fights, so very similar experience to you.
Yeah, it was. I found like I signed the contract back in November, like 2 days before my birthday. So it was just one of those that like I've been knowing about it, but also I've kind of had my eye on him for a little bit anyways, because I was like I like to watch other MMA organizations, and at one point there was a chance for me to hop on a Combate Americas card, but I just took another route, and I would see Gustavo Lopez. He was their champion. He was fighting some tough guys. He fought Jose Alday. He fought John Castaneda, even though that one didn't go his way. You know, John Castaneda is now in the UFC, and he just beat up Eddie Wineland. So Gustavo Lopez is a tough opponent, and you know I'm not taking him lightly whatsoever. So I've been eyeing him for a very long time. You know, ever since he became the Combate Americas champ. So he's not. It's one of those things that it's finally happening, and it's like, all right, cool. I've been ready. I've been watching how he fights, and you know our paths cross in the UFC, which to me is even better.
Yeah, and I think you guys are very similar in the fact, just like your early losses are guys that are in the UFC. That's the same thing as him. Like he lost to John Castaneda, who's on the UFC. He lost to Andre Ewell, who's in the UFC. He lost to Jose Alday, who really should be in a big promotion. And then like with you lost to obviously Domingo Pilarte and Miles Johns, and both those fights are the Miles Johns fight and Domingo were split decisions, could have went your way. But what do you learn from that when you're already fighting, especially in LFA, where you're fighting like these UFC fighters so early in your career?
Man, honestly, for me, it was like turning points. Every single time I took a loss, it was a turning point for me. Like my first loss as a pro, you know, I fought a really tough, legit guy who, honestly, if you look at his record now, like he should be in the UFC. This guy is a stud, and he should be in the UFC. Has trouble making weight, but you know, but he's good enough. His skills are really, really good enough to make it into the UFC. Domingo Pilarte, that was kind of like another one of those. Like it was a turning point for me. A lot of stuff going on at that time. Kind of turning point because I realized, man, I need to stuff these takedowns. My striking is so good that I know a lot of people are going to want to wrestle me. And then I go on a win streak, and then I go fight Miles Johns. And then if you look at that Miles Johns fight, it wasn't necessarily the takedowns that wasn't necessarily the takedowns that he got. He really didn't get any takedowns. He probably only got like 3 in that fight. And to me, Miles Johns is a way better like wrestler than Domingo. And like it kind of showed my improvements over time, but I had to work a little bit more things. Like he hemmed me up against the fence a little bit more. Yeah, he had more control in certain positions. And, you know, once that fight was over, it was like a whole new mentality change. And right now that's where I'm at. It's like a whole mental change. And also too, like those guys are tough. That wasn't easy fights. You know, Miles Johns, he's a tough cat. Like he's tough. He can take a shot. Man, just look at his last fight when he fought a stud in Kevin Natividad, or the guy who he knocked out.
Yeah.
that was a grueling fight for the both of them because both their styles kind of clashed, and it was just a really good fight. So I fought like a who's who already, and it just kind of made it easier transition for me whenever I came into the UFC, because I already fought some of the toughest guys out there in the regional circuit. That once I jumped in, I felt like straight at home. Like I didn't have those UFC jitters, or I didn't have this whole like, or like, oh man, now I'm in the big organization. I'm gonna have to fight the best guys. I was already fighting the best guys, so it just made it smooth transition.
And in this fight, like, do you think Gustavo's game plan will be to try to wrestle you and take you down? Because you look at his career, it's a lot of just getting the guys down to the ground pounding him, or trying to get that choke in.
Oh yeah, that's exactly. I kind of figured that's what he was gonna want to do anyways. Because like going back to my losses, like those guys just try to put me on the ground the whole entire time. They try to put me on my back, try to neutralize what I could do. Some of it was like them holding on to me, just like trying to ride out to a decision because it's gonna be hard for uh it's going to be hard, especially like as soon as I separate and I'm able to create distance, I start landing shots. It's going to be harder for them. They want the safe route. They can't submit me. They couldn't submit me, and Domingo Pilarte is a high level in BJJ. Miles Johns, he's got submissions on his record. He couldn't hold me down, even though he has like a really great wrestling background. Like I'm a tough out, and I don't think Gustavo Lopez is a good enough wrestler as Miles Johns. And shoot, Miles Johns only got 3 takedowns on me in that fight, and I got up every single time within like 5 seconds. So it'll be hard. It'll be hard for him because I'm used to facing wrestlers. So for me, it's more of a copy and paste type of situation. Like this the same training camp, same thing, and like I'm already so used to it, and I'm actually kind of welcoming it because if he takes that shot and he messes up on a shot, it's either a knockout or I'm like gonna get to show off my black belt that I just recently earned. So hey, like people will start knowing me for submissions instead of knockouts. But I'd really want a knockout. That's what I would want.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Is how do you see this fight playing? But I assume you probably think you're gonna land one of those knockout punches, whether it's the punch or the kick.
Oh yeah, either one, whichever one comes first. I know he's a tough out. He's a tough guy. I'm ready for 3 rounds. But man, every time I envision it, I see it going only one way, and that's a first round knockout.
Well, what do you think a win over Gustavo does for you? Like, neither of you are a ranked guy, but that would be 2 wins, presumably 2 knockout wins. Like, I think you'd start getting these more known names.
Oh yeah, man. I don't mind working my way up either, man. That's the thing, is I've always been a workhorse and everything. It would really cement me into the UFC for sure. Because my last guy, he was a short notice replacement, and there's always kind of that like, well, he was making his debut as well, and I'm always kind of just looking like, all right, he's a debuting, this is a perfect fight for me and everything. Now I got Gustavo Lopez. He's a little bit more cemented also because he fought a top 15 guy, went 3 rounds with them, and it was on a 6 days notice. So if I go out there and I start him and I start Gustavo, what does that say about me? I finished him on a full training camp, and this other guy who's in the top 15, Marab, wasn't able to finish him within 3 rounds on 6 days notice. So it only looks really good on me. So that's my thing, is that I want to get going there, make a statement, and just kind of cement my place in the 135 division. Whether it makes me jump high or it makes me have to take a couple more steps, I don't mind either, because man, I've always had to work from the ground up anyways. So for me, I have no problem doing that. I don't have no problem climbing up the ladder step by step instead of jumping from the first step to the 5th step, and sometimes a lot of people take that fall, like they try to jump steps and they end up getting knocked back down to the bottom of the ladder. So if I can walk my way up there, then I'm gonna walk my way up there. But if there's an elevator right there, I don't mind taking that either.
And everything goes your way here, like how quickly would you want to the round? Because I assume you probably want to be pretty active this year.
Oh yeah, I absolutely want to be pretty active. I was going to be active last year, but once I came back from from Vegas, I found out that I caught COVID once I got back home. So it kind of screwed everything up for me. Wasn't able to return as fast as I wanted to, but I would like I would probably take a fight in April, early May. Man, that's where I would like to come back at. May, beginning of May, middle of May. Don't want to go anything past like the. Don't want to go past like the 20th. I'm already in shape. If I knock him out, I'm already in shape. I just want to go back in there.
And I was looking at it's I think it's a 3.5. Some places listed as a 4-inch reach advantage, so it's a quite like it is a big reach advantage. So how do you think that's gonna play a factor in the fight where if you can just pop him with the jab and he won't be able to come inside and even close the distance?
Oh yeah, that to me, I've always done well with shorter fighters, especially when it comes to controlling distance. My last guy, Victor Rodriguez, same height to me. I feel like Victor is actually the perfect entry into fighting somebody like Gustavo. Both 5'5", both had the same reach, and Victor also had that one punch knockout power. So does Gustavo. So it pretty much is like a warm up fight for me to fight Gustavo. And also, I've been working with some guys in training, like my training partner Jacob Silva, same height, 5'5". He's a little bit more faster on the feet, has a little bit more agile since he's a 25er. The weight difference is a little bit off, but I've also trained with 155ers consistently. So for me, it's a really good adjustment, and I do well whenever I'm working at my range. If I can work in my range, it's a short night for Gustavo because that's one thing too. I got a 70.5 inch reach advantage, and I'm 5'7", so that's a pretty good reach for someone my size.
That bantamweight division is stacked too, but 2 knock wins, especially if you get this one in the first round. Like, do you think you're kind of putting that division on notice?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want them all to know I'm coming for everybody's head, man. It's one of those things like I feel like Adrian Bronner. Anybody can get it and will get it, So call me the can man. But yeah, I'll take whatever, man. Anybody who's in front of me, man, I'm coming for you, man. And for me, it just solidifies me even more because if I get this knockout, that I get another bigger name. I go in there, I know what I have to do. I have to go in there and starch that guy too. I can't have sloppy performances because everybody's going to be looking. Everybody's going to be looking at me. I know it's at stake, so I want to go out there and keep showing up and showing out. And to me, that's like the biggest driving factor of why I'm like why I want to perform better and better and better. Like, of course, I want to cement myself in the top 10. And then also, man, like I got to keep letting these people know, like I'm here to stay. And whenever you see me across the cage, I want them to know that, hey, you're locked in here with me. I'm not locked in here with you. You're in this cage with me. So, and I want them to know that. So I'm coming for everybody's head. I don't care who it is.
And just last thing, like, where ideally do you see yourself at the end of the year? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're knocking on that door, that top 15, the bantamweight division.
Man, I would hopefully be in the top 15. That's where I'm hoping to be at. Depending, man, because I would want 4 to 5 fights this year. I want to be like very active, very very active. And if that catapults me to the top 15, then that's what happens. I don't mind working my way up. Again, I don't mind working my way up, getting a 9-fight win streak or anything like, because that looks really, really great whenever you enter into the top 15. You go in there and you start putting those dudes away. So to me, I don't mind either one. I'll be a workhorse. I don't care. I just want to go in there and keep fighting. And once that number comes right next to my name, that's going to make it all the more better for me.
All right, well, Adrian, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me on, man. Thank you for your time.